ability. Even
on another item, I'd just like to thank Steve Chamberlain for all of the years he has spent with the schools, helping the town. I think that he'll certainly be missed.
Yeah, I second that too. He's put a lot of time into this town. Anyone else?
I do. Jean just said she lost the sound. So I was-
Oh, no. Stephen, are you with us? Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm still there,
Oh.
but you did cut out for a little bit, but you're back now.
Huh. Okay. Jean, can you hear us? Lost the sound. Okay. Huh.
More, so hopefully it's back on working.
It sounds good right now.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Sure. I had a couple. I just wanted to thank Paula for hiring the summer staff and Deb for doing all the paperwork. The lifeguards and the summer camp staff, there's a lot of influx of people coming through. And I had 2 letters that the police department received that seemed worth sharing. The first one's to Officer Danforth, and it says, "Thank you, doesn't cover it. You were there for me during a period of time in my life when I needed it the most. You saw me fearful and beside myself, and the support and understanding helped give me the strength to finally do what I needed to do." The chief is aware of this. He talks about other things and just how supportive at that time, and actually from the same person to Lieutenant Shepard. The chief was right. You were perfect on the day that this happened. You allayed my fears, helped me to understand it's just stuff, and let me stand behind you, which was exactly what I needed. My niece told me she was scared of police. We talked about you afterwards, and she left with an entirely different attitude. We both agreed you were sensitive and compassionate and kept things quietly moving along. And we felt protected. So I wanted to share those
Thank
with
you
you.
for sharing those.
Nice to get those.
Mhm. Anyone else? Points of pride. Stephen, are you still with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, you're good. Okay. So we'll start with administrative then, starting with the approval of the consent agenda.
Sure.
The one thing that isn't on there that got added at the end is the dog warrant, which is in your sign file, but it's not on the list.
Dog warrant?
It's the warrant for the uncollected dog.
Oh, okay.
So I'll move, we approve the consent agenda of June 21, 2021, and the list of the past due for license.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right, no one opposed.
And I believe it does have to be a roll call vote if somebody's not present.
Oh, thank you for that reminder. All right, just like the olden
Just like
days.
the-
Okay, so roll call vote. Ken?
Yes.
Sabrina's a yes. Anna?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
All right, great. And I have the dog list here. Okay, so next up we have approval of the public meeting minutes from June 7th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any comments, edits, anything on that? All right, so Ken?
Yes.
Sabrina's yes. Anna?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Next we have approval of the public meeting minutes from June 14th, 2021.
I'll move, we approve that extensive meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All right, Ken?
Yes.
Sabrina's a yes. Anna?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Approval of non-public meeting minutes, session 1, June 7th, 2021.
I'll move such a note that they are sealed.
Okay. Anna,
Second.
second.
Mhm.
Ken,
Yes,
Sabrina's a yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Okay. And next, approval of the non-public meeting minutes, session 2, June 7th, 2021.
I'll move and note they are also sealed.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Ken,
Yes,
Sabrina's yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
All right. Finally, approval of non-public meeting minutes, session 3, June 7th, 2021.
okay, again, I'll move and note they are also sealed.
Second.
All right. Ken,
Yes,
Sabrina's a yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Great. All right. We have no public appointments. That brings us to old business. First up is building protocols.
So given where we seem to be at, it seems like using masks in the building is something that probably should be looked at. I guess I would either recommend following CDC guidelines that we post that unvaccinated people wear masks, knowing that that's an honor system. And that it is correct. So I think that's the recommendation, and that's what people here just feel comfortable with.
and Neil, you suggesting that for Town Hall and the Slusher Center?
Yes, yeah, the two buildings that are.
But the library makes their own rules.
The library trustees are responsible.
Yeah.
I think that recommendation is in sense.
As long as your staff is comfortable with that,
They are.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Do we need to vote on that or just?
Yes, because it's a change in the policy that's in place.
Okay. I'll,
I move that we change the mask ordinance to reflect that visitors who are unvaccinated should wear masks.
I'll second that. One quick question. Are you still going to have like masks out? You will?
Yes.
Okay.
So really nothing will change. We'll leave the same setup. The plexiglass is still up.
Okay.
Same entrance, everything is the same except the actual
And distancing remains.
stays this, yeah.
Okay. All right. So Ken,
Yes,
Sabrina's a yes. Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Steven.
Yes.
Okay.
and is that effective immediately?
As in like right now?
I want- can I
You want to take the
the
mask off? I suppose so, yes.
All right.
So I am vaccinated. I'll be leaving
Good
mine
call,
on.
Ken.
Well, you made the motion, Jeff.
I know. I do want to say, like, I am fully vaccinated, but having kids who aren't makes it a different analysis for some of us.
Exactly.
Well, if you're uncomfortable.
I'm not. No, thank you for asking. So I will leave mine on, is all I'm saying. So thank you for that. Next up, we have the alcohol policy.
Sure, so you have a slightly updated version of the alcohol policy you saw before. Probably the one thing that needs discussion before the draft is kind of finalized, although it probably could go to public hearing, is this covers use for organizations, but not individuals. So currently, it doesn't include a toast at the Slusher Center or anything else. So I guess the question is, do you want that added?
So when you say organizations, are you talking about only nonprofits?
Well, that's what it says now.
It's listed nonprofits and town entities.
Yeah.
Yes.
That seems
Limiting?
silly. You're more eloquent than me. Keep limiting.
So that can be reworded.
So would it be individuals or organizations essentially?
And we could take out nonprofit.
Public and
just
private.
Name it.
Yeah,
Individual or
seems fair to me.
groups? Yeah. Yeah. And so you run this by department heads and they've had a chance to weigh in. So was there any significant concern about a change or?
There wasn't, probably most of the comments came back from the rec department, and a lot of that was process. And I don't think it needs to be in the policy, but we'll do a flow sheet that gives to people the checklist of this is what you have to do.
Simplified, yeah, version.
This is
The timeline of some kind so that people, if it's a 30-day process, you should tell them.
and list.
Right.
There's someone coming in here to this meeting, oh, I'm
Right,
trying to have an event on Saturday and I didn't get my thing. Well, I can do that for you, but
Essentially, we can find out too how long the state takes and.
yeah,
And so the process is that every department head to review it each specifically and make comments on each one before it comes to you for approval. So
oh,
it
okay,
comes back individually.
so that is a timely,
It's not an overnight thing.
yeah.
Although the local part can happen relatively quickly. It's the
Mhm.
state part that we have no control.
Yeah, so I'm sure you have people to call or whatever at the state, but Leanne Vance has done it multiple times for the concerts. So she's someone who would know pretty well. I know she's done them, she has them now, she had them, you know, in like March for the August concerts. So she gets them well in advance. But she'll know, you know, what the process is like, because there's actually, in order to sell alcohol, you have to go through a training as well and get like a 2-day training and get a permit for the event. So it is a process.
It is a
in order to
process.
have it.
And the requirements of who you hire and the liability, the
Exactly.
state requires and all of that.
She'll know.
It is a process.
I'd ask you just to check, you changed most of the beer and wine to alcoholic beverages, but I think you missed, or somebody missed one or two of
Oh, okay.
those.
Yeah, I was gonna say number 4
Yeah.
still says beer and wine sales.
We were inconsistent, and I went with consistency to the alcoholic beverage side
Mhm.
Yeah,
versus,
Beer and wine. Yeah, in the intro for section 3, it's also beer and wine.
And in the application, it talked about the cleanup after. And should whoever the entity is that does get the license, should they be responsible for cleaning up the property if there's any trash left or anything like that?
they are, and that will be outlined in the whole thing. I think it's required that they clean up, but we'll be more specific in the guidelines that we provide.
Okay. And say for the town concerts, is there any cost to the town? Extra police or anything like that?
If there were extra police, it would be a detail. So it would be paid by the organization.
Okay, great.
so do we need to vote on this with those edits? Or,
To put it forth to a hearing.
oh, right,
And I don't
right,
think,
that's right.
I don't, as long as there's consensus, I don't think you have to vote. on it,
Okay.
because you'll vote on the actual ordinance after
Right.
after the public hearing.
Any other thoughts or comments? All right. I think we're good to move forward.
Yeah, should we schedule a hearing?
Your next meeting is on the
July 6th.
July 6th, Tuesday, July 6th.
Tuesday.
I will not be in town, so not that, I mean, you
So
certainly
you can
don't
either do it
need,
then
I
or,
can zoom in.
that's true.
We have a question from the public, is that?
I didn't know if it was allowed to have input now, or do I need to wait till the public hearing?
On this alcohol policy? Well, yeah, I think,
Louise is the chair of the rec committee, so
Oh.
she has. reviewed
okay,
that.
well, yes.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
So if you're looking, it is okay?
Yeah, I do, thank you, yeah.
So, if you're looking at the policy,
Mhm.
number 3, I think you caught the BMY need to say
Mhm.
alcohol beverages.
Mhm.
But also it says, alcohol beverage open container ordinance, sections 3 through 10, that actually should say the policy 2 through 10.
Actually, I went back and looked. So it's in accordance with the town of Hopkinton alcohol beverage open container policy, sections 2 through 10, the ordinance 2 through 10 below and RSA 178. It's 3 separate items.
Well, it's confusing, the average person probably don't know what the RSA 31. So when I looked at it, I'm like, well, the section 2 through 10 is on the policy. The ordinance, you know,
What if we switch the order, just say, in accordance with sections 2 through 10 below, comma, Town of Hopkinton Alcoholic Beverage Open Container Ordinance and RSA 178, just so that
it's
it's,
just confusing.
yeah, I see what you're saying, because it,
Clear it up.
it sounds like sections 2 through 10 refers to the open container ordinance, which it's referring to this policy that we're, yeah. Does that make sense to do it that way?
And the committed locations, so is Bates Building going to be part of this? So if they have art shows, some art shows, you know, certain one. So should that be considered or not?
Bates Building, if it were leased, it wouldn't matter. It's not part of this. It's a private, it would be private. So that's why it's not.
I don't agree with that. We had this discussion when the election happened a year ago. And they were having political ads on the front lawn, and it's a town property, and we said they can't do that. So I think to be consistent, we need to say that they would have to get a permit if they wanted to.
I tend to agree with that only because if the lessee changes year over year, then we would have to change the, I think, yeah, as long as it's town owned, I think it should be consistent. I kind of agree.
Yeah, it makes
Twice
sense.
in the last 2 weeks.
Twice ever?
But it's still considered town property, right? Yeah, I mean, we still own
I
it.
think if it's leased, it's a different.
So it would be written into their lease that it would be permitted, or I don't know how.
Seems like they would still be
We can
subject to
add
this
it.
ordinance.
But I think
Yeah.
legally, if they've leased it, they're, unless you prohibit them from doing specific things, like if somebody lived there,
Right.
they could drink beer.
What about like smoking or, I think of other things that are, you know, town buildings allow and disallow.
Yeah, I would think it was still subject to all relevant town building ordinances and rules. Because even though we're leasing it to a private entity, I mean, we're still a government entity leasing the building. So that seems like the most logical approach, I think, maybe, to include Bates in here.
And the Slauson Center, is that going to be inside only, or does it say Slauson Center in grounds? Or then I
What
don't
if-
have to be specific, it's just, you know, with a lot of this kind of stuff over time, it's not real clear.
Mhm.
The library, the fire station,
Yeah.
anybody can host an event.
Yeah.
The library has their own control.
Right.
But it's a town building, isn't it?
Yeah,
But they're
it's controlled by
subject-
the trustees.
Yeah.
Well, that's my control. We paid for it. We built it. We,
But
the town.
You have no say in what happens inside or any of it. It's by statute.
Correct.
It's-
Yeah.
Okay.
And the bandstand, we have it in surrounding land. With the surrounding land, you have the abutment of the PE Bank and the depot, so it shouldn't say Riverside Park, because that is more of where gazebo is and the alcohol. So it kind of limits to the actual town property.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
could say bandstand and Riverway Park.
Or surrounding town land.
Riverside Park.
Although this only applies to town property, so it's the.
Yeah.
Right, right. That's
What,
fine for clarity, that's fine.
back to the Slusser Center issue, what is the, like, I'm trying to think where you would serve stuff outside, like in the parking lot or?
Like outside the barn, like to the side of the barn, or is that where, because where does the land for the libraries?
Put a tent up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in the parking lot.
Okay.
Um,
And then what about the field stuff?
I was gonna say, do you want to with the fields?
I mean, if someone were to, well, I mean, could someone
Do we
host
ever-
an event
yeah, I
on the
don't
field
know.
and put up a tent?
Have we ever
something?
allowed an event on the,
They could put up a tent in front of the library,
Mhm.
that grassy
Yeah.
area there,
Yeah.
for example.
But that's town controlled, just the inside the library is because they're
All the
all,
land outside, it's just inside the building. The
Yeah.
outside is.
so if we say Slusser Center and surrounding land, that probably captures.
that would mean
That will-
all, like, would that mean all the Houston fields?
Yeah,
And the playground and
So it's
the,
just gotta be so careful about that.
To be
because it could
specific.
Well, I'm having a, down at the game, so I could get back in a bunch of years.
well, no, because you'd have to go through this whole process for a permit,
But
like, you're not
that's-
gonna,
you just have to be, the more precise, the clearer it is for people.
I agree with that. I agree.
Yeah. Okay.
So, what was the sentence?
Do you want to say Slusser Center inside and out?
Yeah.
Like Kimball Cabins?
I think
like-
that makes sense.
Or like adjacent land or contiguous land, I don't know.
Oh,
Okay, look, oh, yeah, the inside and out thing works. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. We'll see how it goes. Then we bring it back for another
That's true.
hearing. It seems like it's not hitting the mark.
And number 10, so I have some, well, I guess some concerns and questions, I guess. So, number 10 is, talks about must provide proof of liability. It has to have liability, legal liability also, somewhere along here. I mean, I think it's a different document. We have to add the legal liability separate. One, we have to have. That one says beer and wine also,
Mhm.
so to clarify that one.
Yeah.
So does that mean if someone brings alcohol, so they can bring, if I'm interpreting this correctly, they can bring their own alcohol to the event. So it's a BYOB. If it's a BYOB, then you don't need the licensing
No, you do.
From the state or,
from the state. Because you can't do that according to the state.
You can't do BYOB?
you can't hold an event
And,
where,
and your Primex policy also, for your town protection, you need to have a bartender or someone to
Mhm,
assume that liability.
mhm.
So it just opens up, to me, it opens up liability to the town by allowing them to bring their own. And then does that also mean you only come to the town and ask for permission to have a because it would be the organization that's sponsoring the event, but the loyalty is that they would get permission
Yeah.
and they not required to do it through the state. I think when you look into it,
Mm-hmm.
I think you're.
But you're saying the state doesn't permit an event to be sponsored by a group that people can bring their own drinks to.
They don't require a license.
Oh. So you can,
So in the case of, maybe this needs to be clarified more, but if somebody wanted to have a champagne toast at the Slusher Center, they wouldn't necessarily, they don't have to get a liquor license from the state to do that,
Mhm.
it's more the sales
right?
and serving.
And serving.
Okay. Hmm.
But on the one day, on a special one day, it says, wholesale distributors of the source for beverage to be supplied. So liquor and wine are purchased at state stores
Mhm.
with liquor license number, so that would be 500 or whoever it is.
Yep, yep.
So I just want, I guess, to get the clarification so you don't put yourself into an issue.
Yeah,
So that would be serving though,
right.
versus,
Bringing your own.
Yeah, and then, you know, finance too is talking about, like you said, you have to have certification, team certification, serving, make sure that someone else assumes that responsibility of serving the liquor, so bartender or caterer, so. I guess BYOB makes me nervous for the town.
Mhm.
It's a lot cheaper to do it that way. And I don't think, you know, like our murder mystery dinner, you know,
Mhm.
kind of a whole lot of red tape for us to do it that way, but is it?
Well, this is intended, though it may not be clear, to suggest that the entity that's sponsoring it, so like if you were holding, I don't know, if there was a group holding an event and they wanted to do a toast, it's not that everybody would show up with like their own bottle of champagne. It's that the group organizing it could provide their own without having to.
right, but this would
I
allow
think
for,
I think it
say, the
would
farmers
allow that.
market. That might not be a good example, 'cause then-
Or say if there was a dinner at the Slusher Center and you didn't want to serve alcohol, but you said, hey, everyone, bring your own bottle of wine to eat with your dinner. You could apply for a permit to do that. Otherwise, the alcohol on town property policy is no.
Right.
Unless it's with an organized event. Right?
Yeah, but your insurance, what do you think the insurance is?
It's a great question. Yeah, no, it's worth looking at, for sure. Do you have a sense of,
That's exactly why everything gets reviewed individually, because there's a very big difference between everyone bringing their own keg and having
right,
a table, bring a bottle of wine
right.
for a nice dinner or something.
But it can be, it leaves too much interpretation, it's too wide of interpretation, like you said, it's either have a toast versus, you know, having a keg of beer. It's
Right.
huge,
But that's,
so it all falls under the same, what you said.
it does, but that doesn't necessarily mean it would be approved.
Right,
Because
that's-
every single application. goes
Right.
through all the department heads and through into the board, so.
That makes
So that's where the process would hopefully catch that.
that, I mean, I'm
And you
comfortable
can
with that.
never know every single circumstance. And
Right.
hopefully what gets avoided is sort of choosing a little bit because some policy
Right.
without sort of guidelines.
And just while we're looking at number 10, that the last word should be event.
So, yeah, so there's some discretion built into this. I don't know if we need to more explicitly, do we say like you're not guaranteed a license?
Well, it does say subject to your approvals, but I guess if they weren't approved because of something, should it, like, you don't want them to have a tick by, I mean, you know, what I mean, it's clear. Or eliminate that. Eliminate the UAW or clearer, I guess, I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm just thinking, you know, from the town liability.
Yeah, that maybe deleting it is the best path forward. Because if you were going to apply to do, something like a champagne toast, I think you'd be captured. You would still just go through the same process, and that would fall under number 2, standards to serve and offer for consumption on town property.
So would that then implicitly disallow people to bring their own drinks to an event? Yes.
Oh, how are you reading that?
Well, if it's not, I mean, it just says to serve or an offer. So it's not, if the attendees to an event are bringing their own, they're not being served or offered alcohol. It would have to be provided by the organizer. Which is maybe fine, but that's just a different, it's a more narrow policy.
Well, I'm not sure we,
Better liability.
yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I hadn't really thought through scenarios of BYOB all the
Right.
way. I was thinking more champagne toast was in my head because that's an example. So what are some other examples where you would imagine BYOB making sense? Because maybe-
Doing a dinner at the Slusher Center,
Yeah.
people might bring wine.
Weddings. Emotions.
I
Wedding.
have to say, Louise, I've never been to a BYOB wedding.
I was gonna say that's for-
I'm gonna go to one this summer. I'm invited to one.
Well,
Times they are changing.
yeah, I guess that's like sort of a policy question we have to address. Do we want it to be that
Are we
broad?
comfortable with a BYOB situation or are we not? Yeah. And
Stephen, are you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm listening.
Do you have any thoughts on this issue of BYOB versus sort of limiting it to, like, the organizer of the event has to be the entity providing the alcohol?
I'm a little uncomfortable with the BYOB just because we really don't have a lot of control over much of that.
Yeah.
And if it's limited to an organization, at least there's someone that's gone through the training, and we have, I think, better assurance that, they're going to abide by our regulations and are not going to be, irresponsible or potentially negligent.
So I'm okay with sort of having that
Striking.
central, striking 10.
Okay.
Fine.
10, are you, and Jeff, are you guys Strong feelings on BYOB in section 10?
Yeah, I think it might be going too far too quickly.
I mean, it just seemed one of the issues that was raised when we started considering this was the champagne toast at the Slusher Center. I don't know how we.
Well, then
allow that,
the
but not
organizer of the
something else.
event.
Right,
can
would provide
the
Right.
drinks.
Yeah.
I think that's fine. And if we get an outcry
Right.
for BYOB events on town property, then
We can revisit this. All right.
That's fine.
Thank you for flagging those issues.
Yes.
I
Thank you
appreciate that.
very much.
So,
So one other one.
Okay.
Sorry,
no,
on the application,
yes.
number 7.
Other permits and infrastructure?
So halfway down, the applicant shall also be solely responsible for the cost of constructing all infrastructure upgrades made to any facility without limitation, which shall be subject to town inspection. That's, to me, open, that's a wide interpretation, especially without limitations.
Well,
They're
Responsible.
responsible without limitations.
Yeah.
But they're able to do infrastructure without limitations.
And what do you have in, what's the thinking behind that?
That might
Yeah, well-
be,
If you want to build a stage,
Mm,
or a bar.
or-
In this case.
Or a fence.
Yeah.
Maybe a snow
Oh,
fence
yeah.
or some sort of fence to,
Yeah, yeah.
to meet the requirements.
Yes,
Okay,
right. I can see that.
we could do, the applicant shall also be solely responsible without limitation for the cost of constructing all infrastructure upgrades made to any facility which shall be subject to town inspection and approval. So that we're saying their responsibility is without limitation, not their.
That makes it clear.
Anything else in the application?
No.
Okay,
Like, yeah, the beer and wine, just would go through.
yeah, consistency.
No, that was basically it. The rental application, though we're gonna do this rental applications that have to be done, with the other buildings now. Because you have them. Do you want the town hall?
We do.
So the gazebo, they don't, and the cabins, but the outside of the property, so if they're gonna put a tent up there and have an event or something.
Mhm.
So they'd have to reserve the space, so we'd have to create, Paul can create them, but I'm just bringing up that
Yeah.
we have to include some more rental agreements.
Mhm.
And if, right now, presently, nonprofits don't have to leave a deposit. But if it's gonna be alcohol related, I think it would be a good idea to hold a deposit. And then they get returned just like everyone else.
Mhm.
So change that piece, nonprofits will provide deposits.
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
That's it.
Okay, anyone else have edits, comments? All right, thank you again for those.
Your agenda says Slauson Center, so next time, I.
Huh? Oh, mine says town hall.
Oh, I got this one off the website.
Oh.
Tree got changed.
Yeah.
We've gotten it early.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I did. So,
Thanks for flagging that. Okay, so I think that we're done with old business. Brings us to new business. Does anyone have any new business? No? Okay. Which would bring us to town administrator updates.
Sure, just the community power webinar, I'll send that out, but it is Monday, the 28th at 2 p.m. the most part, we've covered the things we've been working on. Taxes are due, not this week, but next week. That's coming up, so. And I'm gonna be off a few days, the rest of this week.
Nice, nice, okay. When you say a few days, do you mean you're gonna be gone the rest of the week or,
Yes.
okay? Okay, well, enjoy. Okay,
Really
so,
an end of school trip.
oh, that's fun.
Very nice.
Okay, so that brings us to public forum. Anyone wants to comment? We've got two people, because Stephen's, well, okay, two. One is Stephen. So if anyone wants to comment, now is your chance. All right. Okay. So that will bring us to other.
Under other, first question, Neil, what's the status of the financials for May?
Check, did we not do those last one? Should we get them? I'll check. Send them to you.
And I assume you probably haven't had a chance to start looking into health insurance options yet.
No, since last week. No.
2 weeks, I think, on that one. Okay. And is it confirmed that there's going to be a townie night for the fair?
They're putting together something, but you will be meeting with the fair board, so.
Okay, that's all I have.
Do we have a schedule? I might have missed this, but it's,
Down here, 6:15.
oh, no, sorry. I mean, for the, and we are close to being on schedule, for the visits we're doing, Yeah.
You will, because you're
Okay.
starting July,
13th, right?
yes.
Okay, cool.
A few
2 weeks.
stuff, but I think department heads are happy about that,
Oh, good,
So that's-
okay,
positive feedback.
all right. Anyone else have anything for other? Stephen, anything? If not, then we have a bunch of non-publics to do.
No,
So.
nothing.
All right, thank you. So we will be logging off and doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 non-publics. And we'll take a vote to go into those. And then afterwards, we will be adjourning and not conducting any other business. So thank you to our one attendee on Zoom. And for everyone who joined us in town hall. And would somebody, we have to do a roll call vote on this, right? Yeah. So a motion to go into non-public under every single option.
I'll move, we go into non-public under RSA 91A:3, Roman 2, little c, d, e, and b.
Okay, second, okay. Ken,
Yes?
Sabrina's a yes, Anna?
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Stephen?
Yes.
All right, so we will be going into non-public. Thanks for joining. Are you staying or are you gone?
These two are staying.
For each, okay, good.
Oh, look at that. Those are for you if you want them.
The check went out for the Preservation Alliance.
She has it.
Deb has it.
It's ready, it will go out as soon as it's signed tomorrow morning. Everything's set to go, it's in the envelope and it's signed,
Check's in the mail. Check's in the mail.
almost.
Just look at the stamp.
Oh, right, because we need Stephen. Norm, you need to leave because we need Stephen to stay, but you need to log off. Thank you for joining us. Okay,
Remove.
bye.
You won't do it, I will.
Oh, we're gonna stop recording.
Yeah,
We're gonna log.
no one else
There's
is
all these
playing.
steps.
Stop.
We did?